to. This is Victoriously Crazy Podcast. I'm Marilyn Harris.
And I'm Percy Smith.
I have my glasses on because this is going to be a lot of reading for me. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Bennett, why don't you explain what's going on?
This is part one of the making of Victorious. We're very honored that we have some people involved with the show. They've sent in some information that you are going to read to us about what it was like to actually bring the show to life. They are a producer and they have worked on not just Victorious, but many Nickelodeon shows. So we really appreciate their participation.
Mhm.
Thank you so
Yes.
much in advance to this person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
The way we figured it would go is Percy would ask the question. I would read the answer that was provided to us. Bennett will jump in with additional information because we got so much information. We want to use as much of it as we can. And we're going to get this thing rolling.
Actually, the first question that we had, I wanted to put this down because we had a fan that wanted to know this. So most of the questions are questions that we all came up with, but just want to let you know, shout out to Vanessa. Vanessa had this question. This person's about to answer it right now.
Why did Rex look so much bigger in the first episode, then get smaller?
Because we changed him.
Mm.
After seeing him with Robbie during the pilot, Dan thought that he looked too big. Rex was in so many scenes, we didn't have the money to reshoot them all. So we just rebuilt him smaller for future episodes. What was big?
Stop it. We will not answer that.
Oh
But
my
anyway,
gosh.
second question is, when Victorious went into production, what was your very first task as a producer?
My first task starts with pre-production, and it is often more important than production. During pre-production, I get everything in order to have a successful production. I'm responsible for details, logistics, and management. As line producer, my task starts with preparing a production schedule and budget for studio and network approval. Both are based on how many episodes we're going to shoot and when we're going to air.
Wow.
Mm.
That sounds very
Mm.
important.
It does.
Man.
I put my important voice on it.
And you did a swell job. You know, it's important because especially when she said budget,
Oh, yeah.
Line producer, that's important to remember because all those things that you mentioned, details, logistics, and management.
Nine producers, Ace, huh?
Mhm.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it sounds like Ace.
Yeah.
All right, so the third question is, we know the original pilot script was a bit different and some of the scenes were reshot. What do you remember about the initial version?
I specifically remember Dan and the network didn't think that Tori's performance number in the school show had enough wow as originally shot. It wasn't actors' performances, it was just a small, typical high school production.
Wow.
Dan wanted it to be bigger, so we reshot it. Yeah.
Okay.
I know how that feels to
Mhm.
reshoot something.
So that's like director talk.
Yeah.
You want it to be bigger.
And there's that word bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some stuff on the original pilot as well. You know, if you go back and listen to our interview with Lane Napper, Lane is in Lane, the guidance counselor, but also
Yeah.
choreographer and dialogue coach on the show.
Mhm.
He
Yes.
talked about some of the stuff that went down in the original pilot, and you guys should really check that out. It's episode 20 of the podcast, and there's some details in there too about how it really was when they first wrote the script and what ended up happening when they went with the final product.
I remember that. And it was fascinating what he said, how different it was.
Can you describe your weekly schedule on the set of Victorious, or did your routine vary week to week?
Weekly schedule for regular episodes was pretty much the same. Monday, table read,
Mhm.
rehearsal, rewrite, and new script issued. Tuesday, rehearsal with new script, another run through, rewrite, and new script.
Wow.
Yeah, tell me about it. Wednesday, without production number, we'll repeat Tuesday's schedule. If production number, block and shoot all
All
day.
day.
Thursday, block and shoot all day. Friday, block and shoot all day. Then episode is complete. We usually do 2 to 3 episodes in a row. Then we have a hiatus week. Actors are off, but writers and production departments are all prepping for the next cycle of episodes.
Wow.
Well, one thing too, post-production, the editing that goes on, because that's a whole nother department. That begins as soon as there's footage to edit and continues past production until all episodes are delivered. But I think that some people assume that writers are always just in a writer's room. Going back to that table read, as you know, actors are all sitting around in a room going through the lines. And the writers are there because you've talked about so many times, it's a test. Are the jokes landing? Does the dialogue work? What can be cut? Same thing Tuesday when there's a rehearsal, they could have the same problem. So the writers are so pivotal, not just in that writer's room coming up with the episodes, but being there on set. So they're working
Yes.
all the time. And also blocking has to do with the cameras, meaning that the directors and the DP, director of photography, I mean, that's why we love this crew, because they are
Yes.
absolutely essential. And actors are critical, but the crew and the producers, like this person that we're hearing from, this machine would not work without everybody.
That's true.
That's right. Yeah.
That's true.
And just imagine being a young actor and getting a new script after you got all this memorized, and then you have to do it again.
Yeah.
What you don't see on TV. So
Mhm.
it's monotonous, but it's necessary.
And for those of you that are credit watchers, like Percy and I, you see a movie
Oh yeah, we
and
watch
you
it.
see all those names. This is why, because everyone has a specific job,
That's right.
and
Mhm.
you can see name after name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you watch a movie and watch all the credits, hundreds of names.
hundreds. Why don't you do this question in one of the voices? You know, you do voices.
Oh wow, let's
Yeah.
see.
Do you want to do foghorn, leghorn?
Okay.
Short question.
Boy, I say, boy, how many hours a day did you usually spend working on the show?
I spent 10 to 16 hours per day, depending on the work to be done.
How did you hire crew members, and did they go through an interview process? That's a good question.
That is a good question. Victoria's department head candidates came to me in several ways.
And here they go.
One, I had worked with them before.
Mm.
2, Dan had worked with them before. Or 3, they were recommended by trusted people. Everyone hired had to be approved by both Dan, me, and the network.
Wow.
If we didn't know the person, I interviewed them. Then Dan, and next, the salary and deal points were negotiated.
Mm. So it
Yeah.
wasn't a set price.
Negotiated.
Negotiated. Wow.
I was shocked, just to go off track a little bit. Vanna White from Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
She hired a lawyer to renegotiate her contract because she had not had a raise since 2005.
Isn't that
Wow.
amazing?
Can you
Yeah.
believe that?
Yeah, and Pat Sajak, he was getting more money every chance he could get.
Yeah.
He would get more and more and more.
Male
That's-
female disparity,
Yeah,
no doubt.
that's sad, but it's true though,
Yeah.
because we met her and she's one of the sweetest
She
people
is sweet.
that you ever met.
Mhm.
It was like she was kind and gentle individual.
And she's working on that set just like everybody else. So
Yeah.
what if she just turned the letters?
Yeah, people want to see her. If they didn't have her, just one day, all of a sudden, people would be in an outrage.
Yeah.
They
Where's
would be like,
Vanna?
where's Vanna?
Mhm.
They would freak out. So
Yeah,
you can't minimize her importance on that show.
that's true.
What producer task do you find most challenging?
I'm gonna feed myself on this question.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Sounds like some good soup.
Oh,
It
baby.
was.
Mhm.
Well, this is called The Making of Victorious. So I got to eat at some point, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm making a meal. But
Yeah.
Oh, here. Okay, Grandma.
these questions.
Okay.
And my answer is going to be tasty. The most challenging part of my job was
Yes.
trying to make the show the best it could be within the constraints I was given. They had a time
There
schedule
you go.
on everything. As an actor, when you get a job, the first thing you get is a call sheet.
Mhm.
And it looks like a spreadsheet. It has everything on it, what time you're due on set, everything from the local hospital and police department, the phone numbers and contact information and names of wardrobe,
Mhm.
makeup. Everyone has to work together to get that big puzzle, which is a show,
Mhm.
to fall into place to make it the best it could be, as our person said, within the constraints I was given.
Yeah, that word constraints.
Yeah.
I was given, not okay. So it's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. What parts of your job are the most fun and rewarding? That's what everybody want to know.
I can answer that.
What?
Catering.
Oh, see,
It's all rewarding. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't like it.
yeah.
Okay, the answer. The most rewarding was when everything came together as Dan and I envisioned.
Amen.
I really enjoy when I hear from fans how much they enjoyed our show and that a show was an important part of their growing up.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something.
That's why all of this is basically happening, because I had my Instagram, my old Instagram,
Yeah.
Crazy Food Grandma, and I used to occasionally post pictures from back in the day when I was on the show. And when we really got into social media during the pandemic, where we were making Andre Grandma videos and stuff, because people kept saying, when's the show going to be brought back, or will they bring it back? So to feed that curiosity and that need to see that character, we started doing that.
Mhm.
And then it evolved from YouTube to Instagram to TikTok. And then Bennett contacted me, right, Bennett, for the podcast.
Boom. You took that step.
And your skills of getting the guests. It's like,
Oh gosh, I
if
still
you
can't
were
believe it.
reincarnated, you would definitely be a bloodhound.
Yeah, it's something they call people that do what you're doing, man.
You sniff them out and track them down.
Yeah. Who Kojak, and we went over to his studio. That was like, this wouldn't be happening.
If it weren't for Bennett.
And this guy was the coolest. That's his name, and I see why.
Oh,
When we
he's
met
very
him,
cool.
I mean, come on, that guy is something else.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Bennett.
Yeah.
I knew you
Appreciate
guys
it.
would hit it off. I had a feeling when he said he would do
Mhm.
the podcast. I saw his vibe. I knew your vibe. I'm like, they're gonna be good friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you work on more than one show at a time? If so, how did you balance multiple productions?
Yes, I worked on more than one show at a time.
Mhm.
We had Drake and Josh and All That in production. Then iCarly and Victorious both in production.
Wow.
Zoe 101 and iCarly shooting, and Henry Danger and Game Shakers going simultaneously.
Man, that's serious business, right?
That
there.
is.
Yeah.
During those times, I had a line producer working for me on each show who would help with the day-to-day task. And just to refresh him, Bennett, you want to tell him again what a line producer does?
So yeah, I will just say this verbatim off of what this person says. As a line producer, the title can vary, but this denotes that I'm not a writer, but responsible for all the details, logistics, and management. It starts with preparing a production schedule and a budget, and both are based on how many episodes we're going to shoot and when we're going to air them. We have to be able to shoot and post, meaning edit, every episode in a timely manner so that it's ready for when the network wants to air it. I also want to add that after a schedule and a budget are approved by the studio and the network, and in Victorious' case, that was the same entity, Nickelodeon, but with other shows, it's different. So in those cases, the schedule and the budget must be approved by both the studio and the network. So once those are approved, then I, the producer, start the task of hiring all of the department heads. So you remember that this person talked about the
Right.
people that they would interview and hire. In this person's words, I guess you would say that preparing the schedule and budget are the first tasks of any production season. I guess we're going a little full circle back to the beginning, but part of being a line producer is all those things listed above. It's logistics and details and management, but also getting everything approved. And so it really goes top to bottom. And
Wow.
I also want to add that I had a conversation with this person off the air, and I remember them telling me, because I asked them, I said, what do you do? Because you have this title. I remember seeing their name on the screen of one of the Victorious episodes. We see a lot of different types of producers, and they said to me, I'm a producer. They kept it kind of simple. I have a lot of tasks, but when you have a title, it's kind of like a ranking. You start off in one position, and then they might give you another one to reward you the longer you've worked somewhere. Season to season, show to show, it might change from like a different type of producer, but at the end of the day, this person produces no matter what they might be called.
It reminds me of someone being a manager at a restaurant. They have to know how to do everything. If the floors need to be waxed and nobody is there to do it, the manager does it. You know, if the fries need to get dipped, the fry person call in sick, the manager got it. So you have to know all these jobs to make it a successful venture. So yeah, I believe the producer has to know every job that everyone is doing, you know, to make it all work.
It's quite a responsibility when you look at it on paper.
Mm-hmm. It's just a word. It looks like just a word, but it's not just a word.
Wow.
It's involved, man. Yeah.
And you don't get that when you watch a program or a movie. You're just getting entertained, but you have no idea the sweat, the hours, the work, the meetings, the negotiations, and all of that goes into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of money involved, so they're not messing around.
Yeah. Well, thank you to this person that gave us this insight.
Thank
I
you.
mean, my mind is actually kind of blown behind all the detail and all the things that are involved. I love your iPad, by the way, Bennett. You got to make sure that we get the
Pear
Oh,
baby.
Hair
Yeah.
pad.
The pear pad. Wow.
Yeah. You didn't see,
Well, I saw it, but my brain's, I'm thinking pear, but my mouth said I.
It's not shaped like a pear, but
yeah.
the thing is, I figured when Victoria started, it was still shaped like the Apple products. And also, if you look at
Yes.
the iCarly revival in the present day, they're back to being shaped like a rectangle. So I figured it was doable.
It was
Yeah,
appropriate.
I
Yeah.
thought it was a pear.
You know, he's cutting edge. He's ahead.
Yeah, baby.
Well, I guess you could say in order to get this shape, I had to cut some edges.
And it worked.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's it. I mean, since this is more of a learning thing, I didn't feel inspired to do an act out or anything. How do you act out after someone talks about all this hard work and all this dedication, all these tasks, responsibilities and things that they do? Makes me feel like I'm kind of lazy.
What would happen if Andre's grandma had to be a producer?
She would tell catering to produce some ribs. She would focus all on the food. You'd have all kind of food, but nothing else would get done. That's probably what would happen.
Yeah, none of the budget stuff. No.
She would blow the budget because she would fly in chefs from France, and she get all kind of the foods. She ship in some oxtails.
Oh,
you know.
People be sitting there looking at them like, I'm not eating that.
Yeah, especially since she'll bring the whole ox.
Oh God, that'd be terrible.
And hire someone to slaughter it, get that tail. But then she would have them chop off the tail, but she would do a tail transplant, and she would give them the tail of a horse and send them back home.
Yeah, that's deep, man. You're going too far.
Yeah.
Far.
Wow.
Cosmetic surgery, baby.
You got really in depth there.
Yeah,
Not
I
expecting
did.
that.
Yeah.
nobody was.
My imagination is wild.
Do that in front of
Well,
the crew.
Reading these questions and answering them, they really they fed me like
Go ahead.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Bennett?
I just want to thank this person again so much. Their talent is
Amazing.
Yeah.
Next week, we have somebody else from another show because this is all sort of one universe, right? So we have our second Victoriously Crazy iCarly crossover.
Yes.
I guess I should probably finally say who it is, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Howard, aka David St. James. iParty with Victorious was an iCarly episode technically, but you may have been with him on set because he was in iParty with Victorious. So
okay.
he was in The West Wing.
No.
Ah.
He's done a lot of interesting things in addition to iCarly.
The funny thing about being an actor is you do so much work and you have so much you have to memorize that once the project's done, you dump it. At
Yeah.
least I do. I don't remember half the stuff that I've done. And we were talking to someone the other day and it was like, what have you done? And I was like, I could come up with Victorious, I could come up with CBS.
I know.
American Crime Story, Decker.
See, I didn't even think of
You
those.
don't think of it.
I
'cause you're
didn't
not
even
thinking
think of
about that.
those.
Once you do it, it's over.
What's your come up with?
What's-
Two Broke Girls.
Yeah,
and-
Two Broke Girls. I did a Striker commercial.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I did a whole.
That's why we need people like this person that's willing to give us the inside track, because much respect. Much
Mhm.
respect and thank you. This is Victoriously Crazy Podcast.
baby.
Thank you again for our special insider guest.
Producer.
Yeah, the producer. The
producer.
producer. I think there's an old classic movie called that. I'm not
It
sure, but
is.
I think
Yeah, with
there
Mel
is.
Brooks, I think.
Okay, well, there you go.
Mhm.
The
The
producer.
producer.
So thank you, producer.
Mhm.
If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe, comment, like, and share, because you have been fed. One more time for the spoon. Yeah, that was
Mm.
good.
Tasty.
I don't know you. I don't know you. But I want to.